Hey guys, hope everybody's doing well as always. So in today's video, I wanted to actually talk about the curse of an entrepreneur. And what I mean by this is, as entrepreneurs, we deal with a lot, right? And we tend to find ourselves in situations where we're doubting our abilities, we're doubting our capabilities, and we're doubting our whole existence as an entrepreneur, like moving forward into this space and building our businesses, managing teams, whatever it may be that you do. It's very easy to find yourself in a doubtful situation based around your own capabilities. And this can lead to worse problems, right? This can lead to things like long-term and even clinical depression. It can lead to anxiety and many other issues inside of your life and in your personal space. So what I wanted to actually share with you guys today is some of the things that I do on occasion where I find myself in this type of mindset. And we all find ourselves here. You'll be fooling yourself to say that you don't. And any entrepreneur worth a grain of salt will also say that they find themselves in these situations, right? It's something that it's hard as human beings to be open about, I guess, but we all go through it. We all do. No matter what level you're on inside your business, whether you're just starting and struggling and your depressive state is brought upon you through the struggle, or you're sitting at the top of the mountain and every single day is a day that you could lose it all and all come crumbling down, and you're scared out of your wits that this could be that day. All right, so it doesn't matter where you sit on the spectrum. If you're an entrepreneur, you'll go through these frames of mind on a consistent basis, and it's something that actually never ever ends. So what we need to actually do is manage it, right? At the end of the day, learn what works for you, because everybody will actually manage these things differently. So what I'm going to share with you guys today is how I actually manage these mind frames when I find myself sort of sliding down into that situation. Now, there's a few things, right? And I sort of like to look at the science on most things. I don't really subscribe to the woo-woo side of stuff, right? Like, science is where it's at. So usually for me, one of the big things is physical exercise, right? Because we know neurologically that when you get into that exercise state, when you're physically moving your body and exerting it, it releases feel-good hormones like dopamine and many different hormones. I'm not going to go into all of the biology around it, but it's almost impossible to be in that down state of mind when these hormones are flooding and rushing through your system. So this is actually a real short-term fix that I found works really well. Throughout the day, if you're sitting here in your chair or wherever you're working from, in your office or wherever it may be, and you start finding your mental space declining, right? And it will happen. It happens to me multiple times a day. Like I said, we're no different to each other, guys. We're all human beings. We all feel the same emotions. That's what empathy is. That's how you can know when someone explains a bad situation, you'll feel it, right? Because you actually have felt it. You know exactly what they're talking about. And what I tend to do when I feel my mental space sliding downhill is I'll just jump up and I'll go over and I'll start doing some exercise. It doesn't matter what exercise it is, star jumps, burpees, it does not matter. It does not matter what sort of physical shape you're in. It's all going to help you, right? You just need to do the exercise to your own capabilities. And what you will actually find, it's really like a miracle, that about halfway through your exercise, you're just going to start laser focusing on what you're doing and punching out that next rep, and everything around, all the negativity around you will just fall away. And it's really crazy, but you might need to do this multiple times during the day, right? It might happen many times over where you'll find that your mental space is sliding downhill and you need to just go, right, I'm going to get up and go do that exercise. Now, there's different levels of this for some people. Some people find themselves where they're sort of like paralyzed in their position and they can't, like they feel like they physically can't get up and go do this. But this is where willpower comes into it. And guys, if you're an entrepreneur, you know this really well. Willpower is one of the well, it's probably the biggest skill that we can have and cultivate inside of ourselves, because we find ourselves procrastinating on everything, because almost everything is painful when it comes to business. There's a lot of things that we don't want to do, but we must do. All right. So you need to just build that strength inside yourself to say, all I need to do is get up and do the first one. If you can do that first repetition, that first burpee, that first star jump, then you've already fixed the problem, right? So another way that I also mitigate this, and this is on more of a larger scale, I guess, and not an instant sort of reward fix scenario, is, if you guys have been following me for a while, you would know that I like to go out into the wilderness. Now, I don't do this just because I like green stuff, right? Out in the wilderness, it's a little bit foggy. Out in the wilderness is where us human beings actually naturally belong. Not inside of these four walls that are around us. These four walls that are around us will drive us to insanity if we stay in them for too long. Because why? Because this is not our natural space. This is not where we naturally belong. Most human beings feel peace in nature because that is home. I've said this so many times, right? So if you can get yourself out into nature, into a situation where you feel at peace, feel at home, and especially do this alone, guys. This is a little trick, because when you're out there with somebody, you're sharing the experience, you're talking, you're not really looking inside yourself to discover what's actually happening in there. But if you go out there into that space, into that natural element alone, where you're comfortable and you feel at peace, then that opens up so many opportunities for you to sort of reach down inside of yourself and really unpack your life. And what is the true root, the core problem that's making you feel this way on a daily basis, right? So it's almost like natural therapy. Instead of having to go and pay somebody to sit inside four walls and lay down on a couch or whatever it is and talk your problems out, this is a way to actually talk to yourself. Talk to yourself internally in a much better space, like a space where it's so much more comfortable, more beautiful, the scenery, the sound of the birds, everything around you, and you can just sit there and really unpack what's happening inside of yourself. And that's a way to really fix these things on a more long-term scale. Now, guys, I'm no therapist, and I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody, but this is definitely what works for me. And I truly believe that if everybody just gave this a go, it does have the potential to work for everybody. But you've got to really want it, and you've got to really want to go out there, walk those forests by yourself. Don't get lost, right? Do not get lost, because that will turn into a real bad day really quickly. So go somewhere that you know well, somewhere peaceful, somewhere quiet, and just go in there with the mind frame of, I'm just here to enjoy this scenery, to really unwind and relax. And that natural diffuse state of thought will just enter into your subconscious, and you'll start thinking about these things and life and everything on a grander scale naturally. Don't force it, it'll happen. Going back to what I said about empathy as well, guys, like just yesterday, actually, I was watching this guy on YouTube. His name's Mr. Ballin. If you haven't seen him, check him out. He's pretty awesome. It's got nothing to do with business, but he tells stories, and he's such a great storyteller. And he was telling the story about 9/11, right? And I found myself actually like getting glassy-eyed, believe it or not. And I saw Mr. Ballin in the videos actually getting glassy-eyed as well as he was telling the story. And this goes back to that empathy, right? Like, we can, maybe I've never been in a situation like 9/11, but I understand what those people went through now, right? I was actually 18 years old when that happened, and I still remember sitting on the couch really early hours of the morning in Australia, and I was watching TV, and then all of a sudden the channel got taken over with these burning towers and news reports, and I didn't know what it was, so I flicked the channel and it was on the next channel, and again and it was on the next channel, and I thought, whoa, something really serious is going on here. So I stopped and I listened to it, and it didn't fully sink in, like the size and scale of what had just happened. And actually for 20 years it didn't fully sink in until I watched Mr. Ballin. And that's why I'm saying this guy tells great stories, and I really felt it, and I felt that empathy. So it's a really good skill to have, and you can it will serve you very well in life if you allow that into yourself. But the way to really grasp the concept of empathy is first get to know who you are. And this is a lifelong journey, by the way, guys. This is just like business is a lifelong journey, right? Once a business person, always a business person. If you truly become an entrepreneur, you will always be one. No matter how rich or wealthy you get, you'll consistently be looking for things to do, to build, to scale. And even into old age, when you're in retirement, you're still going to be tinkering with things. That's just the nature of an entrepreneur. And I guess the whole internal journey is all part of it. It's actually brilliant being an entrepreneur because we challenge ourselves on a daily basis, and this makes us it's almost like a requirement that we must self-produce ourselves into something bigger, better, grander, scale ourselves up, so to speak, right? Because we know as entrepreneurs, if we don't do this, if we don't scale ourselves up, there's no way in hell we're scaling up any business, right? It's all about truly understanding who you are. And like I said, this is something you'll never truly understand, but to the best of your ability at this point in time and space, understanding who you are, so then you can draw on your strengths to build your business and add value to the world, because that's what business is all about at the end of the day, guys. Adding value to the world, leaving your mark, leaving your legacy. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to share those two little tricks that I use to really stem or stop that depressive state of mind really overtaking me on a daily basis. You know, you have that really quick fix, which is just go and exercise. It works. Believe me, it works, and it'll work for anybody, right? I've never seen anybody doing exercise crying at the same time. It doesn't happen. You may still feel down in the beginning stages of that exercise, but as you start going through it and you start focusing deeper and deeper on that exercise, you'll develop tunnel vision, and all of that negativity truly will just fall away. That's a quick fix, but that might need to be done a couple times a day as you find yourself sliding. And secondary would be to go out into the wilderness, go out into home. This is where home lives, right? Your walls that you've built around you, these are physical assets that you've been able to accomplish. It's not really home. Home is in the wilderness, because we are all human beings, and we are all an animal species, and that's where we came from. We're built from that stuff out there. So never negate that in your life. This what exists out there in that wilderness can help you up here so much. And if you just go out there and just stroll around, don't put any pressures on yourself to really think through things. Just get in that diffuse state of mind, and it will happen naturally. Don't push it, you know. All right, guys. As you all know, I have a Kindle Direct publishing business called Period Time Publishing. It is a business that aims to free people from their 9 to 5, because I think the 9 to 5 sort of generic go to work every day, build up your it could be a 401k in America. In Australia, it's called superannuation, something you can retire on, which most people never have enough to retire on in the long run, and live that sort of lifestyle. It is a major cause of a depressive state of mind in modern society, because it's so unnatural to us. Human beings were built to have freedom, and that freedom basically meant, what am I going to eat today, right? So our bodies moved around a lot more back in those days. You know, I find myself being very stiff because I sit in a chair for most of the day. Those people were truly free. Our ancestors were truly free. They would wake up and they had one thing on their mind: I need to fill our stomachs. So the men would carry off into the wilderness hunting, the women would carry off doing gathering. Everyone in the community had their thing to do, and at the end of the day they would come together for a big feast and a song and a dance around the fire, and it was all happy days. That's why these ancient tribes had no word for depression, had no word for suicide. So we need to we live in the modern age and things are different. We need to mitigate that, and I think a great way to do that is these little things like I've just taught you, but on a grander scale. Truly free yourself from that 9 to 5 lifestyle. It's not natural, guys. So that can be done through Kindle Direct Publishing. I did it, and many people around the world have done it. My students are doing it right now. So guys, if you need some help with that, just drop a comment below and I'll reach out to you. All right, you all have a great day and look after yourselves.